Consistency creates champions because greatness is never built in a single moment. It's built in the quiet, repeated choices you make every day. The world often celebrates the final result, the victory, the achievement, but what truly creates that moment is everything done long before anyone is watching. It's the early mornings, the late nights, the disciplined habits, the small decisions that look insignificant on their own but become unstoppable when repeated over time. Consistency is the force that turns effort into excellence, repetition into mastery, and dreams into undeniable reality. When you commit to showing up every day, you build a foundation stronger than motivation. Motivation fades, moods change, and circumstances shift, but consistency stays. It teaches you to keep moving even when it's hard, even when progress is slow, even when you don't feel inspired. Every time you push through those moments, you strengthen your character and prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you once believed. Consistency isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. It's about letting your actions repeat your intentions until the results begin to reflect your dedication. Consistency turns small daily actions into long-term excellence and lasting results because every tiny step you take compounds into something far greater than the effort it required in the moment. Most people underestimate the power of showing up. They wait for motivation, inspiration, or the perfect circumstances before they move. But the truth is simple. The people who rise, the people who excel, the people who transform their lives are the ones who commit to doing what needs to be done, even when it feels boring, uncomfortable, or unnoticed. Consistency is not about intensity, it's about loyalty to your vision. It's about choosing growth over excuses, progress over perfection, and discipline over distraction. Every time you follow through on a promise you made to yourself, you strengthen your identity. You become someone who acts, not someone who wishes. And that shift, tiny and invisible at first, creates a ripple that expands into every part of your life. When you repeat small, effective actions day after day, something remarkable happens. Your mind begins to trust you. Confidence grows, habits form, skills sharpen. The person you were yesterday becomes the foundation for the person you're becoming today. And because each action builds on the last, the results start to stack. What began as a small effort evolves into momentum, and momentum creates breakthroughs. Think about it. One workout won't transform your body. 1 hour of learning won't create expertise. 1 day of discipline won't build a legacy. But daily repetition, done with intention, turns the ordinary into the extraordinary. It creates the kind of strength that doesn't fade, the kind of mastery that doesn't crumble under pressure. It builds a character that can weather storms, adapt to challenges, and keep moving forward when others quit. Consistency also eliminates the emotional roller coaster of try hard one day, quit the next. It creates stability, it creates rhythm, it creates a path that becomes easier to follow the more you walk it. Each day you show up, the resistance gets weaker and your belief gets stronger. The actions that once required effort eventually become second nature. You stop negotiating with your fears and start partnering with your potential. The mind becomes clearer, the decisions become simpler, and the progress becomes measurable. The transformation isn't a sudden explosion, it's a quiet, steady rise that feels almost effortless because it's built on repetition. And here's the beauty of consistency. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be persistent. You can make mistakes, fall behind, or have days when you're not at your best. But as long as you return, as long as you recommit, as long as you continue taking steps, no matter how small, you stay on the path of growth. A consistent person is unstoppable not because they never fail, but because they always return, they always rise, they always continue. Long-term excellence is not created from grand gestures, it's created in the moments no one sees. The early mornings, the late nights, the quiet hours of practice, the repeated behaviors you choose when nobody is clapping for you. Excellence is not an act of luck, it's the outcome of rituals repeated over time. And lasting results don't come from explosive bursts of action, they come from the daily discipline of doing the work, refining the craft, nurturing the mindset, and honoring the commitment you made to your future. Every great achievement you dream of is hiding inside your small daily actions. Every goal you desire is waiting behind your willingness to be consistent. Every transformation you want begins in the choice you make today. With this moment, this task, this step, if you can stay consistent through the ordinary, you will earn extraordinary results. Because consistency is the equalizer. You don't need to be the most talented. You don't need the perfect resources. You don't need the perfect timing. You just need the discipline to show up again and again and again. In the end, what defines your success is not how loudly you start, but how long you continue. The world rewards those who keep going. The breakthroughs go to those who do the work even when no one is watching. And the champions, every single one, are created by consistency. Champions are built through discipline and repetition, not motivation or talent alone, because greatness is never the product of a moment. It's the result of unwavering commitment repeated hundreds, even thousands of times. Motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes with your mood, your circumstances, your energy, and the world around you. Talent is limited. It gives you a starting point, not a finishing line. What truly separates the ones who rise from the ones who remain stuck is their ability to show up with discipline, even when every excuse, every distraction, and every comfort pulls them in the opposite direction. Discipline is the internal engine that doesn't need permission, applause, or emotion to move forward. It simply acts. And when that discipline is infused with repetition, something extraordinary happens. You begin to build a level of mastery and mental toughness that talent alone can never match. Repetition is the sculptor of excellence. It is the slow, sometimes boring, often invisible process of refining your craft, strengthening your mind, sharpening your instincts, and conditioning your body to operate at its highest potential. You don't become a champion in the spotlight. You become one in the quiet hours of training when nobody is watching, when the work feels repetitive, when the progress is subtle, and when your mind wants to drift to easier paths. Every rep, every practice session, every discipline choice increases your capacity to endure, improve, and perform under pressure. Champions are not created by doing something once with intensity. They're created by doing something consistently with intention. Discipline teaches you to move without negotiation. It replaces "I don't feel like it" with "I made a commitment." It shifts your identity from someone who waits for the right feeling to someone who creates the right outcome. This shift is where champions are born. Because once you learn to act without waiting for the emotional spark, you gain a level of power most people never touch. Anyone can work hard when they're inspired. Anyone can push themselves when conditions are ideal. But only disciplined individuals push themselves on the days when they're tired, stressed, unmotivated, or overwhelmed. Only disciplined individuals stay committed through boredom, through setbacks, through long stretches where the results haven't shown yet. This ability to stay focused and keep moving without emotional permission is what separates the exceptional from the average. And repetition transforms discipline into mastery. When you repeat an action long enough, it goes from being something you do to something you are. Your skills become sharper, your movements become smoother, and your reactions become automatic. You develop a deep familiarity with your craft that no moment of motivation could ever create. Repetition builds confidence because you're no longer guessing. You've done it so many times that success becomes your natural state. You stop hoping you'll perform well and start knowing you will because your preparation has removed the uncertainty. That level of self-belief cannot be bought, borrowed, or gifted. It is earned through the grind. The truth is, champions don't rely on talent because they know talent is unreliable. It can fade. It can weaken. It can be outperformed by someone who simply worked harder and longer. Motivation can give you a spark, but discipline gives you a fire that never goes out. Repetition fans that fire until it becomes unstoppable. When you combine discipline and repetition, you create a force that is immune to excuses, resistant to setbacks, and stronger than any obstacle. Champions are not the ones who wake up drenched in inspiration. They're the ones who take the same action over and over until the world can't ignore their excellence. They're the ones who practice long after others have quit. They're the ones who choose their future over their feelings. They're the ones who turn effort into habit, habit into strength, and strength into greatness. They understand that talent may open the first door, but discipline and repetition are what carry you through every door after that. In every field, sports, business, personal growth, relationships, mindset, the pattern is the same. Those who rise the highest are the ones who build their foundation on discipline and repetition. They know that every day is a chance to sharpen, to improve, to become stronger, even if it's only by 1%. They trust the process because they know the process never lies. What you repeat, you become. What you discipline yourself to do, you master. And when you combine these two forces, you create a champion not by chance, but by design. This is the truth behind every great success story. The champion wasn't the most gifted, they were the most committed. They weren't always motivated, they were disciplined. They didn't rely on luck, they relied on repetition. That's why they rose. Showing up every day strengthens character, resilience, and self-belief because the act of consistently choosing effort over comfort shapes you from the inside out. When you make the decision to show up, especially on the days when you don't feel ready, when the excuses are loud, when life feels heavy, you are quietly reinforcing the message that you are stronger than your circumstances. Every day you show up, you cast a vote for the kind of person you are becoming, Character is not built in the moments of ease or success. It's built in the moments when you push forward despite challenges, emotions, and distractions. Every time you honor your commitments, you strengthen your integrity. Every time you take action, when it feels easier not to, you prove to yourself that your word matters. Character grows through consistency because consistency demands honesty, discipline, and responsibility. It forces you to rise above your excuses and show the world, and more importantly, yourself, who you really are. Resilience is forged in the repetition of effort. When you show up daily, you start to develop the ability to face setbacks without breaking. You learn to recover faster, adapt quicker, and continue despite uncertainty. Resilience isn't something you're born with, it's trained. It grows from the small decisions you make every day to keep moving, even when progress feels slow or invisible. When you show up consistently, you experience moments where things don't go your way. Plans fall apart, results stall, obstacles appear. But each time you navigate these challenges and return the next day anyway, you strengthen your mental toughness. You begin to understand that difficulty is not a signal to stop, it's part of the process. Resilience becomes your default, not because life gets easier, but because you become stronger. And through the simple act of showing up, your self-belief begins to grow. Confidence is not built by wishing for progress. It's built by proving to yourself, again and again, that you can take action. When you show up daily, you gather evidence that you are capable, disciplined, and committed. You stop doubting yourself because your actions create a pattern of reliability. Self-belief is earned, not imagined. It grows from seeing yourself follow through, overcome discomfort, and move forward even when the results are not immediate. The more you show up, the more your mind begins to trust you. And when your mind trusts you, you become unstoppable. There is something powerful that happens when you repeatedly choose consistency over convenience. You begin to rewrite the story you tell yourself. Instead of identifying as someone who quits, procrastinates, or gets overwhelmed, you begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, who pushes forward, who does what needs to be done. This shift in identity is life-changing. Showing up daily becomes a mirror that reflects your potential back at you. You start to realize that you don't need perfection. You don't need ideal conditions. You just need to be present, committed, and willing to take the next step. Showing up also teaches patience. It reminds you that success is not instant and transformation is not sudden. It reinforces the truth that small actions carried out over time create massive change. When you commit to the process, you stop chasing shortcuts and start embracing growth. You learn to appreciate the journey because you understand that each day you show up, you're building something bigger than the task itself. You're building the person who can sustain success. Every day you show up, you strengthen the foundation of who you are. You become more reliable, more confident, more resilient, and more capable. You start to trust your ability to handle challenges because you've proven it repeatedly. You start to believe in your dreams because your actions show you're committed to them. You start to realize that consistency isn't just about results. It's about who you become through the process. Showing up every day is not a habit, it's a declaration that you are choosing growth over comfort, purpose over excuses, and strength over weakness. And with every day you choose to show up, you are shaping a stronger character, building deeper resilience, and creating unshakable self-belief, one action, one moment, one commitment at a time. Consistency generates momentum, making progress smoother and setbacks easier to overcome because the more often you take action, the more naturally progress begins to flow. When you are consistent, you no longer have to restart from zero each time. You carry the strength, the discipline, and the rhythm of your previous efforts forward. This creates a kind of internal momentum, like a wheel that gets easier to push the longer it rolls. In the beginning, the effort feels heavy. Every step feels intentional, every action requires focus, and every choice seems to demand willpower. But as you continue showing up day after day, something powerful begins to shift. The actions that once felt difficult start to feel normal. Habits become automatic. The resistance that once slowed you down begins to fade. Your mind, your body, and your emotions adjust to the rhythm of consistent effort, and forward motion becomes your natural state. Momentum is one of the greatest advantages consistency offers. When you keep moving, even in small ways, you avoid the friction that comes from stopping and starting. You don't waste energy rebuilding lost discipline or trying to regain lost confidence. Instead, your progress compounds. Each effort supports the next. Each action strengthens your commitment. Each day reinforces your identity as someone who follows through. This steady accumulation of effort creates a force that carries you forward even when your motivation dips or life becomes chaotic. Momentum becomes your ally, reducing the need for constant self-pushing because your own past efforts are now helping to propel you And with that momentum, setbacks become easier to handle. When you are inconsistent, every obstacle feels overwhelming because you lack the foundation to push through it. But when you've built strong momentum through consistent action, setbacks lose their power. Instead of knocking you backward, they simply slow you down temporarily. You are no longer threatened by challenges because you know you're capable of recovering quickly. You've built the strength, the habits, and the resilience needed to keep going. You understand that setbacks are not failures. They are simply bumps on a road you're already confidently walking. Consistency gives you the capacity to absorb impact without losing your direction. Momentum also creates a psychological shift. It makes progress feel real, tangible, and close. When you see growth, even small growth, your belief increases. That belief fuels more action, which creates more momentum, which leads to more progress. This loop becomes a powerful cycle that keeps you moving forward even when circumstances aren't perfect. Instead of relying on bursts of motivation, you rely on the momentum you built. You begin to trust the process because you've experienced how steady effort produces results over time. Consistency also creates familiarity with your goals. The more often you work toward them, the more they feel like a natural part of your life. You stop seeing progress as a distant dream and start seeing it as an outcome you're actively building. With familiarity comes confidence. With confidence comes ease. And with ease comes the ability to navigate challenges without losing your balance. Momentum also helps you stay emotionally steady. When you are consistent, your mind becomes less reactive to short-term disappointments. You understand that one bad day doesn't define the journey. You know that slow progress is still progress. You know that temporary pauses don't erase your long-term direction. You are grounded in the bigger picture, and that grounding makes you more calm, focused, and determined. Consistency also transforms your identity. When you show up regularly, you begin to see yourself as someone who is capable, disciplined, and reliable. You stop doubting your ability to succeed because your own actions provide you with evidence of your strength. This identity shift reinforces your momentum even further, because once you see yourself as someone who follows through, you naturally continue to act in alignment with that self-image. And ultimately, momentum created by consistency becomes the quiet engine behind your success. It protects you from discouragement. It helps you bounce back from setbacks. It turns effort into flow. It turns small actions into significant outcomes. It turns challenges into opportunities for growth. It turns dreams into reality, not because of sudden breakthroughs, but because of steady, committed movement forward. With consistency, progress doesn't feel like a battle. It becomes a journey you're prepared for. Setbacks don't feel like dead ends. They become lessons you can handle with strength, and success doesn't feel unreachable. It becomes the natural result of the momentum you've built through your unwavering commitment to keep moving one step at a time. Champions aren't defined by talent alone. They're defined by the work they do when no one is clapping, when no one is impressed, when no one is paying attention. They grind through the unexciting parts, the repetitive parts, the tiring parts, because they understand that these are the steps that elevate them. Consistency is what sharpens your skills, deepens your focus, and strengthens your discipline. It's the quiet force behind every major accomplishment, the engine that keeps you moving forward, no matter how steep the climb becomes. Every consistent action creates momentum. The more you show up, the easier it becomes to continue. The more you follow through, the more confidence you build. Momentum is powerful because it transforms effort into rhythm and rhythm into mastery. It helps you push past obstacles that once stopped you and keeps you advancing even when challenges appear. With momentum on your side, setbacks become detours instead of dead ends. You start trusting the process and believing in your ability to rise. Consistency also creates identity. When you repeatedly act in alignment with your goals, you begin to see yourself as someone who follows through, someone who doesn't quit, someone who honors their commitments. And once that identity forms, your actions naturally rise to match it. You stop negotiating with excuses. You stop allowing distractions to control you. You start living with intention instead of reaction. A champion's mindset is built long before the moment of victory, and it is built through consistency. Every day you show up, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. Every repetition strengthens the foundation of your dreams. Every effort compounds, even when it feels small. That is how champions are made, through countless decisions that no one sees but everyone eventually feels. If you want success that lasts, results that matter, and growth that transforms you, then commit to being consistent. Commit to doing the work. Commit to showing up even when it's inconvenient, uncomfortable, or uncertain. The path to greatness isn't about doing everything perfectly. It's about doing the right things repeatedly. When you embrace consistency, you unlock the ability to outlast challenges, outperform your past self, and outgrow your limitations. You give yourself the chance to rise, evolve, and thrive beyond what you once imagined. Consistency creates champions, and every day you show up with discipline, focus, and purpose, you're becoming one. Keep pushing, keep building, keep showing up. Your greatness is already in motion.